You ever sit in a crowded room and realize you've become the joke? Not because you failed. Not because you disappeared. But because somebody else rewrote your story while you were still alive. That's exactly what happened to me at my son's college graduation. My ex-wife's new husband stood in front of hundreds of people, looked me dead in the eye, and humiliated me like I was some washed-up loser who never mattered. And honestly, for a second, I believed him. But then my son walked across that stage, took the microphone, and said something that changed everything. The entire auditorium went silent. And my ex-wife's husband. Yeah. He stopped smiling real fast. My name's Daniel. I'm 52 years old. Divorced. Worked construction most of my life. Not rich. Not flashy. Never drove a luxury car. Never wore expensive watches. But I spent 23 years waking up at 4:30 in the morning so my family could eat. And somehow, by the end of my marriage, I got replaced like an old couch somebody left on the curb. This story isn't just about revenge. It's about what happens when people confuse money with value. And what happens when a son finally tells the truth nobody else had the courage to say. Divorce doesn't usually happen all at once. It happens slowly. Quietly. Like a leak under the sink you ignore until the floor caves in. That was my marriage with Melissa. At first, we were solid. We had our son Tyler young. I was 24. She was 22. We struggled hard. Tiny apartment. Used furniture. One car with no air conditioning. I still remember driving Tyler to daycare with the windows down in July because the AC died and we couldn't afford to fix it. But we laughed back then. That's the crazy part. People think happiness comes after money. Sometimes happiness lives in the years before money changes people. And yeah, I said changes people? Because once Melissa started climbing socially, everything shifted. See, when Tyler got older, Melissa went back to school, became a real estate agent, and suddenly started hanging around wealthier people. Country club people. Boat people. Wine tasting people. Folks who say things like, summering somewhere. Meanwhile, I was still showing up home covered in drywall dust. Still eating gas station sandwiches at lunch. Still working overtime. At first she said she appreciated it. Then she stopped noticing it. Then she started resenting it. You want to know one of the most painful moments in a marriage? It's not screaming. It's not cheating. It's when somebody looks embarrassed by you. That look changes everything. One night we went to a party with some of her new realtor friends. I remember standing there holding a paper plate with barbecue on it while these guys talked about investment properties and ski trips. One man asked what I did. I said construction. He nodded like I said I cleaned septic tanks. Then Melissa laughed and said, Daniel still thinks working with his hands is the American dream. Everybody chuckled. Even her. And right there, something inside me cracked. But I stayed. You know why men stay too long? Because we think enduring pain is the same thing as loyalty. A lot of men watching this right now know exactly what I mean. Then came Greg. Of course his name was Greg. 50-year-old financial advisor. Perfect teeth. Rolex watch. Drove a Tesla before everybody had one. The kind of guy who says, buddy, too much. At first Melissa said they were just friends. 3 months later she wanted a separation. 6 months later she moved in with him. And here's the part nobody talks about after divorce. You don't just lose your wife. You lose your routine. Your identity. Your seat at the dinner table. Suddenly your own kid has 2 homes. And you sit alone in an apartment eating microwaved food wondering how your entire life collapsed so fast. I remember one night opening my fridge and seeing nothing but mustard, beer, and expired lunch meat. That was the moment I realized loneliness actually has a smell. But Tyler, he never abandoned me. That boy kept showing up. Every Friday night. Every fishing trip. Every birthday. Even when Melissa tried subtly pushing Greg into the father figure role, Tyler stayed respectful, but distant with him. And Greg hated that. Oh, he smiled in public. But I could tell. Some men don't want to join a family. They want to replace somebody. And Greg wanted to erase me completely. Tyler got into a great university. First person in our family to graduate college. I was proud beyond words. I worked extra shifts for years helping him with tuition. Quietly. No applause. No social media posts. Just wire transfers and sacrifice. That's parenthood. Doing things nobody claps for. A month before graduation, Tyler called me. "Dad, you're coming, right? Wouldn't miss it for the world." Then he got quiet. That pause. Parents know that pause. He said, "Mom and Greg are coming too." I laughed awkwardly. "Yeah, figured." Another pause. Then he said something strange. "Dad, just promise me you won't leave early." I should have known right there. Graduation day came. Huge auditorium. Packed crowd. Families everywhere taking pictures. Mothers crying. Fathers pretending not to cry. And there I was in my only decent suit, trying to smooth out a tie I hadn't worn in years. Then they walked in. Melissa looked expensive. Greg looked smug. And immediately I felt small. Isn't that weird? How one person can make you question your whole worth just by existing near you. Greg spotted me first. Big smile. Too big. The fake alpha male smile. He walked over shaking hands like a politician. "Daniel." "Hey, buddy." There's that buddy again. Then he looked at my suit and said, "Wow. Haven't seen that style in a while." Melissa laughed under her breath. Tiny laugh. But I heard it. People think humiliation has to be loud. Sometimes it's microscopic. Greg kept going. "You still doing construction?" "Yep." "Man, tough work at your age." "At your age." Translation. You're old. Worn out. Inferior. Then came the kill shot. He put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Well, at least Tyler had one of us who could help him navigate the business world." I swear my stomach dropped. Because Melissa nodded. Nodded. Like Greg deserved credit for my son's success. You want to know the craziest part? I almost walked out. I actually started heading toward the exit. And then I remembered Tyler's words. "Don't leave early." So I stayed. Barely. The ceremony started. Names called. Cheers echoing everywhere. I tried focusing on Tyler. But Greg kept making little comments. "Oh, Tyler gets his confidence from Melissa. He definitely didn't get his math skills from you." Little cuts. Death by paper cuts. And every time Melissa smiled. I sat there feeling invisible at my own son's biggest moment. Then something happened I didn't expect. Tyler's dean stepped to the podium and announced there would be one final student speaker selected by faculty. Guess who got chosen? My son. The crowd erupted. I stood up clapping immediately. And Greg. He leaned back smiling like he helped build him. That smile was about to disappear forever. Tyler walked onto that stage calm as could be. Cap straight. Shoulders back. Microphone in hand. And for a second, I saw him as a little kid again. The boy who used to fall asleep in my truck after Little League practice. The kid who thought I could fix anything. Then he started speaking. At graduation, people always thank the successful people in their lives. Normal opening. Polite. Expected. Then his voice changed. But today I want to talk about somebody nobody notices. The room got quiet. He said, I want to talk about the parent who gets underestimated. I froze. Tyler looked directly into the crowd. Right at me. You know the kind of parent I mean. The one who doesn't post motivational quotes online. The one who works overtime quietly. The one people overlook because they don't look successful. Now the entire auditorium was silent. Even Greg stopped moving. Tyler continued. My dad spent most of his life doing construction. He missed vacations because he was working. He came home exhausted for years. And after my parents divorced, people acted like he became irrelevant. Melissa's face changed instantly. Tyler wasn't done. I watched people respect money more than character. Boom. You could feel the tension. Then he said the sentence nobody in that room expected. My stepfather likes to talk about success a lot. Expensive watches. Networking. Appearances. Greg shifted uncomfortably. But the man who taught me discipline, loyalty, sacrifice, and integrity. Tyler pointed straight at me. Is my father. I felt my throat tighten immediately. But then Tyler delivered the line that destroyed the room. My dad built buildings with his hands. But more importantly, he built me. The auditorium exploded. People stood up clapping. Not politely. Loudly. Emotionally. Real applause. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel invisible. I looked over at Melissa. She looked stunned. Almost ashamed. And Greg. That man stared straight ahead like somebody unplugged him. Tyler kept going. When I was struggling financially in school, my dad quietly sent me money even when I later found out he was skipping meals himself. I never told anyone that. Never. Then Tyler smiled slightly and said, Funny thing about real men, they usually don't advertise themselves. The crowd reacted hard to that one. Because everybody knew exactly who he meant. And then came the final blow. If you're young and watching people choose status over loyalty, pay attention. Character matters longer than image. Man. Even professors were nodding. Tyler ended with this. So today my degree belongs to two people. Me, and the man who sacrificed his body so I could have choices he never had. I broke down crying. Didn't care who saw. Didn't care anymore. Because in one speech, my son gave me back something divorce had stolen. My dignity. After the ceremony ended, strangers came up shaking my hand. One older man hugged me. A woman said, Your son's speech reminded me of my father. And here's what hit me hardest, people aren't blind. They notice authenticity eventually. The world may celebrate flashy people first. But deep down, most Americans still respect sacrifice. Still respect loyalty. Still respect parents who show up. And listen, this isn't about hating successful people. Money isn't evil. Success isn't evil. But arrogance. Performing superiority. Treating hardworking people like they're beneath you. That poison eventually exposes itself. I'll tell you something nobody warned me about after divorce. Your value can't come from whether somebody chooses you. Because people are flawed. People chase appearances. People make selfish decisions. Sometimes the people closest to you completely misjudge your worth. But that does not erase your value. And parents listening right now, especially fathers, your kids see more than you think. Even when they're quiet. Even when they seem distracted. They remember who stayed. They remember who sacrificed. They remember who answered the phone at midnight. They remember who showed up exhausted anyway. You may feel forgotten today. But seeds grow underground long before anybody sees them. Tyler saw everything. Every extra shift. Every missed luxury. Every sacrifice. And one day, he spoke the truth out loud. That's the thing about truth. It takes longer to arrive. But when it shows up, it hits harder than any lie ever could. If this story hit home for you, I want you to hear this carefully. Never measure your worth by who walked away from you. And never confuse loud people with strong people. Real strength is sacrifice. Real strength is consistency. Real strength is loving people even when nobody applauds you for it. So if you're a parent grinding quietly right now, don't quit. Your kids are watching. And someday, the truth will speak for itself. If this story meant something to you, hit like, subscribe, and share it with somebody who needs the reminder that real value never goes out of style.